What is going on today? We're going to talk about KQQQ. And is it right for your retirement portfolio? And what a great time to be alive for people that are around my age, I guess, older, younger, whatever, looking to retire or retired or semi-retirement or whatever. All of these dividend growth funds that have been out and are coming out. And what great competition between all of them. Now, we're going to look at KQ today. We're going to compare it to quite a few different Q growth dividend funds. But first, this is a different animal. You got to have a stomach for KQ. Why do you have to have a stomach? Because it's all about the tech with this thing. And you got to be able to weather storms. You see how this beast of a KQ is weathering the storm. If you're going to hold this position, you have to be ready for price and distribution fluctuations because it's all about tech. So let's get into this. This comes from Curve, and it can be possible. This is like shots fired to the other groups out there that have nav erosion, and it is possible. Absolutely. We've seen it with GPIQ, QQQI, and others. It can be possible to achieve growth with income and guard against nav erosion, because nav erosion, if you're in a retirement type situation or trying to build up a retirement account, that nav erosion is just death by 1,000 paper cuts, man. It'll just bleed you out. This fund is so unique in the way it manages itself versus other funds. Okay, so this part, it's dynamically weighting top tech exposure. Okay, so as you can see here, it dynamically weights the positions it holds to mitigate downside through income. This is where it's really interesting. It's a unique growth strategy with income on/off. Do you see that? Options depends upon market conditions. So you're going to see that in the distributions, how they will throttle down the income based upon what the tech sector is doing. And that's really fascinating. Now, this total return that they're putting here in their website, I mean, I don't know how accurate that is. This is like the last 3 weeks. And we have a site that, kind of says that has a different total return percentage. Here is from their website and the potential benefits of investing in this particular fund. It removes all non-tech. So you have to be really tech focused and bullish on the movement of tech long term, okay? And it is dynamic in the way it runs things. And you can see it's unlike, this is the same as many other funds. It writes cover calls to generate income. Okay, so here's their share price year to date, and it's up 12%. That's really nice. You like to see in your growth/dividend funds growth, right? You want to see that share price rising. That's what you're in it for having your cake and eat it too. And right now, this is providing that. And in max all time, 21% up on share price appreciation. Here's a couple things I want to point out here. You can see their dividend yield in the left column. This place has it at 8.33. They have on their website 18%. I think the last 3 weeks have been 18%, but you'll see why this place has it at 8.33. Also, look at the volume on the top right column. It's weak. Like, there's no volume in this fund at all. It's pretty weak on the volume. Not a lot of people are buying it. Payout frequency is monthly. Here are their holdings, treasuries at the top, and then it's all tech after that. You can see here, your standards, Amazon, Meta, Broadcom, Apple, NVIDIA, right? Like everybody else has in this sector. Here's where it gets really interesting with them. Look at the distributions. We were having a rally during this point, August and September and October of last year, but it wasn't necessarily a full-on tech rally. And you could see that with the distributions. They're pretty light. 8 cents, 14 cents, 14 cents. And then during the corrective measure and after the election, stayed around 15 cents. And then after the correction and this tech rally, AI boom, whatever you want to call it, look at the distributions. It went from 45 cents to 8 cents. So you could see how they throttle that down. And can you live like that? Can you have your distributions fluctuate like this depending upon this particular sector? Well, that's up to you to decide. And you can see here in your distribution chart, when tech rallies, the distributions grow. Wow. Look at that. That is an amazing fast growth from July to now with their dividends. Here's their chart, and you can see the growth. Like, here's the Qs, right? And you could see where we had the former all-time highs in 2025. You can see that here in 2025, and then the explosive growth after the corrective measure. You got to have a stomach for it. Look how it dropped down there to around roughly $20, and now it's up over 30. So for a covered call fund, that's a lot of growth and a lot of price fluctuation. And with them throttling down the distributions as it drops, that also helps a ton. But that doesn't mean it's, depends if you can live like that, right? Here's your total return year to date. And I own QQQI and GPIQ. I put QDVO in here in this because these are all for growth plus dividends retirement type of holdings here. And you can see here total return year to date. You could probably flip a quarter, right? And just pick one at this point with total returns. They're all about equal with QDVO leading the pack and my beautiful QQQI coming in last, but they're all right there with each other. Total return isn't I'm going to say it's not the most important metric. It is a important metric, but there's other metrics to look at. And we're going to look at those that will help you determine if the total return will stay like this long term. And you could see here total return max all time. KQQ is second, right behind QDVO at 33%. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Look at the dividend growth here, the blue line from KQ. It just absolutely ripped. It's a straight line, and that's what we're talking about back here, where we had this flat line of distributions where they throttled it down, and now they just let it go and giving you all those distributions, and that is shown here in this chart. So it's far and away dividend growth year to date is up 25%. That's massive. But you got to have a stomach for it when the tech rally starts to fail or comes down or corrects or crashes. This one may feel it the most out of the other three I'm showing here. Price change percentage year to date. QDVO and KQ leading the pack here. MIQI is in last place. So there is definitely some price change here with all of these, and that's what you want to see. Higher share price, say it with me, equals higher distributions. And when you need distributions to live off of, whether it's now or in the future, you got to see things like this. You got to see that price rising up with the overall market. Price change percentage max all time. Again, QDVO, KQ first and second place, and just the explosive growth out of those two, QD and KQ, because they're so tech heavy. And you can see during this tech rally, they've outpaced my GPIQ and QQQI in price change percentage. Now, when it comes to stock price, QI and GPIQ are more expensive than KQ and QDVO. And you could see that there. So, different price perspectives. That's good and bad. I mean, it's more expensive to own the other ones, but during serious drawdowns, they have a higher buffer of share price, I guess, is the best way I could explain it, versus the other two. Now, if we do a direct comparison here using this dividend comparison tool, KQ versus QQQI, you could see right here, from inception, annual, let me just go down here to the bottom, total return 31% for KQ versus my QI at 26%. So, it's about $500 more of starting investment versus ending investment in KQ versus QI. And you can see here on the chart there's some separation, particularly with this massive tech rally we're going through right now. So I just kind of want to give my opinion and just how just me, and this means nothing because this is just me talking here and being candid. I would be worried, me personally, about holding this as a core. Just because, as we've seen through this comparison, the massive price swings and how they will throttle down the distributions. I need personally a little more stable distributions as a core. But for me to add this during a correction or something and then wait for the next tech rally, I think it would be great for that. And it would help long term, I think, to hold this as well. Now, it's only been out a little over a year, but you could see how it's implemented and how it's going to work. We just don't know how any of these are going to work during a 2 or 3 year bear market. And if it's a bear market with a tech sell-off where everything goes to like consumer staples, this one will suffer more than, let's say, GPIQ or QQQI. So you have to be aware of that. So for me, it couldn't be a core holding, just something I could possibly have in my account that grows over time with share price and the distributions grow. But it's a wild card, man, and it is a beast. I think if used properly, you could really kill it with this fund. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Mike, Tactical Stock Scalper, out.